Hey, what's up, YouTube? So, I got another little project going on here. Customer called me up. I've done work for him before, and I actually did some hammering, some rock and ledge in his backyard, and he's got a couple spots that are sticking up a little bit too high. He's afraid that after he gets topsoil in the spring and grows grass, that over time it'll shoot back through. So he wants me to come and he asked what's another good idea without renting, without him having to pay me to come with the mini excavator with the hammer attachment again. I said, well, I can cut. I got a cutoff saw with a concrete blade. I make slice marks, and then I take a sledgehammer and I chip the chunks out. So it works pretty good, if you just need to get, a few inches out. So that's what I'm doing today. I got my Stihl. It's a ts700. I have a ts400 too, but this one's got the concrete blade on it. Yeah, I know. I don't have any water. Figures, right? But, so yeah, so here, I only have a few of them to do, so, and the blade's pretty old blade. There's still a little life left on it, but, yeah, I don't got no water over here. That's alright. So here's a couple that I did already. These were sticking up a few more inches than what 3-4 inches, so I got him down that much more. That's all he wants. So the trick I do is I make slice marks like that, and then take these chunks out, just like that. You know? Yeah, when you're dealing with ledge, you know, it's hard with the mini excavator, with the, you know, it works okay with the mini excavator, just if you have to chip a little bit of ledge. You know, it's hard on the machine. You know, the bigger the excavator, the bigger hammer attachment, and you can really do some good chipping with a big one. So, you know, that's why usually with new houses, you know, if they dig a foundation and there's ledge, they usually see if they could blast first, you know, if there's no neighbors around, or sometimes then they gotta get approved and see if they could blast and take pictures of any neighbors' basements, so if anything cracks, it's covered and things like that. But otherwise, if they don't approve blasting, or there's no way that's gonna happen, they get big excavator, you know, a big Cat 330, or a, you know, whatever, a big excavator with a hammer. And but anyways, no, I did all the hammering the last time I was here, and he was happy with it and everything. And then he just, I guess it was bugging him that he wanted it a few spots a little more down. And he called me up and he's like, hey, I want you to come out. He goes, I'll pay you. What can we do besides renting a hammer? What other ideas you got? And I was like, I told him about this idea. I said, if it's only 3-4 inches you want down on a couple spots, this is what we do. So it worked out. Then I even because after I chip it and everything, I got a good triaxle load of dirt there I'm gonna spread. But what I did was I took all the chips, put them in this bucket. So when he comes by later, and if this is already covered, I show him that I did the job. You know, I don't mess around like that. Because word of mouth is sometimes all you got, like they used to say with the handshake. But you know, I'll show proof, video it, or like that. I'll show them all the cut mark stuff. But yeah. So that's a little video on what I'm doing. I got a couple more to do, but yeah, this is my Stihl cutoff saw. This one here is like a 2011 model. Actually, what happened was I was on a job site. A guy called me in to actually dig a slab on grade foundation, and he had this was his cutoff saw. He was actually a builder. You know, he framed the houses and things like that, but he didn't have an excavator or nothing. So he had me dig it, and this was his saw, and he had his worker using the saw to like make the curb cuts and stuff like that. Well, his worker left the saw. Let's see, there was a couple pieces of concrete that were in the ground that I had to pull out, and so his worker was using the saw, making little cuts here and there, and I was pulling the concrete out. Well, as I'm lifting it up with the machine, this guy had the saw in his hand, and he put the saw down. And I said, hey, get that saw. You know, don't go near this. I was lifting up this big piece of concrete. I was like, if this comes out of the, you know, if this slides out of the thumb, you know, just stay away and don't put the saw near there. And as soon as he said that, the freaking thing, luckily we were in sand, but the concrete piece came out of the thumb and the bucket, you know, it slid itself out. And it hit the ground first, but then so that took, it didn't crush the saw, but it hit the ground. But then when it hit the ground, it rolled over, and when it rolled over on the saw, right on here, so you can see it. It's a little bent here, and there's the broken plastic, and that there, it actually it bent the muffler. So, and this was way bent in, and I'm like, dude, what's going? Oh my God! So the boss came over. He's like, as long as you guys aren't hurt. And he was like, don't worry about the saw. And then he said, do you fix the saws and stuff like that? You good at that? I was like, yeah. I said, it could be a cracked cylinder now. Who knows? It could be crushed. He's like, well, take it apart. See what you can do with it. If you can't do anything with it, use it for parts. That's what he said. And actually, then it was a while, and then I found some extra time, and I took it apart, and actually it was all. Nothing happened to the motor. Like I said, it was cosmetic. Bent the muffler, bent the bar. I pulled that back out. It cracked this up here. The blade that was in it, it was a concrete blade. It bent that. But I straightened everything out, fired it up, and it ran mint and everything. And so I called the guy back up, because I have a couple of these saws, the ts700. This is a bigger one. But anyways, I go to call him back up, and his phone was off. He must have had a prepaid phone, because it was probably a month or so went by, and never could get a hold of him again. So I had this saw now for almost 2 going on 3 years. It's actually a $1,400 saw, the ts700.